Hi, welcome. Simon here, and hope you're doing well. In this video, I'll walk you through step by step on how to do a screen replacement on an iPad 8 generation. Alright, so if you're not sure what model you are having, turn it around, take a look at the back of your iPad. It should say model A2270. That would be the iPad 8 generation. Alright, so I do have some of the screen replacement here. The parts, the tools are all ready for me, and I'll walk you through from start to the end. First of all, safety first, because you're dealing with broken glass. As you can see, my iPad screen has pretty severe crack all around the corner, so definitely I do not want any of the broken glass fly into my eye. So safety first, always have your protective eye gear ready to protect your eyes at all times. Alright, the next step is to get yourself a heat gun. I'm using this is a Wagner heat gun. If you do not have it, you can use what you call hair dryer, something that you can borrow from your mom or your sister. You can try to heat it up. The goal is to heat up the glass so that you can separate the adhesive and separate the glass away from the adhesive. Alright, so you're trying to soften that double-sided adhesive tape by using like a heat gun or a hair dryer. After that, you can get yourself a metal prying tool. You try to stick it in between the glass and the iPad, and what you want to do is just to gently pry the broken glass out. Get yourself a trash can ready on the side. It's easier for you to get the broken glass away. Okay, now as you notice that when I heat up the heat gun, I do not stay in one position, because when it's too hot at one side, you try not to damage the LCD screen. Okay, so what we're trying to do is to soften that tape right here. So you do see this little black tape, this one right here. So that is the double-sided tape that Apple installed, and it's really sticky. So the only way for you to easily remove them is just by kind of melting the soften the double-sided tape. Okay, now the goal is not to hit it too hard, hit it too much at one point. So as you see, I do not stay in one position while heating it up. I always move around and come back. And you try not to heat up the whole iPad, because by the time when you work on this part, that part might get cold. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to work as you go, and you don't have to heat up the whole iPad at the same time. Because I'm working in an AC room and the AC is blowing right at me, and it can get hardened pretty fast. So just wanted to share that with you. I might have to keep coming back and reheat them again and again. So just take your time, you don't have to rush, especially removing the glass. So the point is to be, make sure safety first. You do not want to cut yourself or hurt yourself. So just take your time while you're heating up the broken glass, where you're separating them. And rushing does not make things get faster or better, because I do not want you to damage the LCD. If you damage the LCD, there will be additional cost to you versus just getting the glass itself, right? And also, when you come down to the bottom part here, where close to your home button, you want to pay close attention to it, because the Wi-Fi is located underneath here, as well as the home button cable. We are trying to save the original home button and transfer over to the new screen. That is because the Touch ID registered with the iPad, and if you damage the original Touch ID, then you won't be getting that function. Okay, so my goal is to not break the Touch ID and transfer over to the new screen. So just be very careful when you do that. Just do not rush it, pay more attention to it, and always come back to heat it up if you don't think it's enough. Okay, I want you to take a closer look here. If you notice that there's one cable running through from the home button over to that is the cable. You do not want to break it, okay? Because if you break that cable, then your home ID is going to be gone. While the thing is still hot, what I'm trying to do is I'm going to go underneath that bracket. So this bracket right here, we're going to reuse. The bracket is the support behind of the home button. You see that little dot here, the little dimple right here. That dot right here is to allow the clicker to click right on the button. So we're going to save that. Same time, I'm just going to remove that home button right here. Be very gentle. Everything is one piece now. And this right here, you're going to go underneath that flex cable. Okay, underneath that bracket, the home button. And now I'm going to work on that flex cable, slightly going in between there and gently move it out, peeling it to my left, and that will be my entire home button for this iPad. Okay, so as you can see, the bracket, the home button, the flex cable, all one piece, just like that. Okay, now we have the screen. What I like to do, because the iPad is turned off, I know it's not on. Some people may disagree with me, but hey, it is your choice. I like to cut the cable here. As you can see, there's one cable right there. So go ahead and cut it. I like to cut mine like so. So what I just did is I cut that cable, which is the flex cable for the screen, for this screen here. So I cut it off so it can be very easily to remove this. and work my way with the LCD. So some people may say like, hey, you did not disconnect the battery, why did you cut it? That might give a short to the iPad. That might be true, but I never get a shortage or anything. I know that I turn off my iPad, so that would be okay. And hey, I'd rather not work with the broken glass rather than removing the LCD, disconnect the battery, then remove the glass. I feel like that is a bit dumb, but it's your choice. And like I said, I'll show you from start to finish that the iPad would work, even though if I cut it without disconnecting the battery. Sometimes you have to weigh the pro and cons and see which is better for you. Alright, so what I'm doing now, I'm just going to shake off any glass that is still left over on the iPad. Be very careful with that cable. Get myself a little napkin here, wipe it off. I have my trash here on my left. I'm just going to trash all this broken glass. Alright, so the next step is to remove the LCD, but before we do that, there is this tape right here, and this tape is hiding that screw, so you want to peel it to the back. Get yourself a Phillips screwdriver and remove that screw. There are 4 screws in total. I have this broken glass is still stuck by the camera. Okay, that is the second screw. The third screw is here is at the bottom. And the fourth here is on the bottom left. Alright, once you have removed all the screws, just make sure that the screws are the right screw back to the position, okay, because they are all different sizes. Now once you remove the screw, you notice that the LCD screen does not come off that easily. Why? Because they put adhesive glue, some kind of a dark sticky glue around that corner. Alright, around the corner right there. So what you need to do is to get like a tweezer or something to scrape it off. I cut that little plastic off so that you can see it. So what you want to do is you want to kind of run around the corner. Now you have to be very careful, okay, because the LCD screen is a very thin layer of glass. Alright, if you put too much pressure, it will crack. So what I like to do is just to run that tweezer back and forth to scrape off some of the gooey stuff so that it will free up that LCD. Alright, so there you go. I just free one corner. If you notice that there's another corner right there, so go back here, get the tweezer, run back and forth. Alright, there you go. Now, iPad back to the normal position. The camera is on the top. I'm flipping it towards myself. So gently making forward toward yourself. Stop at 90-degree angle. We are going to remove this, okay? 3 screws. Remove the bracket. Now get the plastic prying tool. We're going to disconnect this cable that is for the LCD. They are just like Lego that snap onto it. There's no clipper or anything. You just lift it up and that connector will just come right off. Now remember that cable that I cut earlier here, the scissors that I cut, that is for the screen. As you can see, we cut it off. Now some of you, imagine that you have the broken glass that is still here. Imagine this is the broken glass that was still connected like this, because you refused to cut, because you were saying like you need to disconnect the battery first before you can cut off the thing. Come on, I feel like you've been moving around with the broken glass and then trying to remove the LCD. Remember that gooey stuff here by the corner? You're gonna get really hard time to do that. I can tell you that for sure. And again, you're gonna have hard time to do that. You know, sometimes you may damage the LCD screen, you know, get a scratch, or the broken glass might, you know, end up in your eye or scratch yourself. So I'd rather cut it off at the very beginning and then just remove it after, just like that. Okay. So what I like to do is shake it off. As you can see, a lot of broken glass are still inside of the iPad, and take the opportunity to come and clean it off like here, like so. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I like to work in a clean environment, so I'm going to clean out all that thing on my table. Okay, little trick for you. Let me go get a tape here. So what I have is this magic tape, the regular tape. I make a loop on it. Alright, just a regular tape. I make a loop on it, and I noticed that there's a little stain right on my LCD. You see that? So what I'm doing is I get the tape and just stick it. That's all you need to do. If you get like a smudge or like your finger accidentally touch on it, if you feel oily and stuff, don't use the tissue to wipe or anything. Use the tape and just tape it. Just like FBI or CIA, you know, you try to tape that fingerprint off the glass. That's what you need to do. All right, come back to the thing. What I like to do is to come back and clean the side. If you're not sure the side is all clean, to come back and clean the side, because you need to have a flat and even for the new screen to sit on top, right? So come back and clean all the side. Make sure there's no tiny broken glass or any of the glue that gets stuck in there. See, as I clean, you can see that all these little broken pieces are still there. All right, that looks pretty clean to me. Now the next step, what I like to do is to install the new screen. Alright, so go ahead and install them. Before I do, go ahead and install. Before you do that, make sure that the screen is peeled. So sometimes the new screen come with the protective screen right here. So this one here, you can actually peel it off afterwards. And sometimes they do have one in the back, so you need to peel it off. If not, then you're gonna feel like very like a piece of plastic is being covered. Okay, so they are kind of like Lego. What you need to do is just kind of snap it back together. Do not force that connector in, okay? What I want you to do is I want you to find that sweet spot. All right, find that sweet spot. They're like Lego. Once you have them in the right position, that sweet spot, you can just press it and it would go right in. You don't need any force or anything to do that, okay? So don't force it in. Now what I like to do next is to transfer the home button back to that new screen. So what I'm doing right now, I'm just kind of laying down here and position the home button and make sure that it falls right in. Now as you flip it over, you want to press and feel that click. Is it in or not? Position the home button, make sure you feel like, hey, the home button is sitting in nice and sweet. So keep playing around until you find that sweet attachment. Alright, it looks like my home button is in. I find that sweet spot. I just got to position that cable. Make sure the cables are okay. Maybe I'll reconnect it in a second. Disconnect this is much better. Let me just position this first. Okay, so the bracket would have to sit just right, and what I'm feeling it right now, I'm just feeling that sweet spot. Like I said, the clicker would have to match the middle center of that silver dot. Once you match that, and when you press it, I hope that you can hear the clicking noise. Alright, so that means the clicker is good. So this is the right position, and I feel that this is going to be great. Now you do need to have a super glue in this process because the bracket has to be glued down. Alright, so now I'm just going to put a tiny little drop. How big is the drop? It's going to be real tiny. I think that is way too much. I make a mistake. I'm coming back with my napkins, absorbing all that glue that I squeeze it too much, because that is a brand new brand new crazy glue, super glue I have. Okay, so let me absorb that. Okay, just all you have to do is just a tiny little bit, like half a size of a grain rice, you know, half a size of the grain rice, while you're holding it down while this thing is drying up. You just have to hold it down for a little bit and click and press and make sure the clicking is still good until you're satisfied with that position. Hold it down for a couple more seconds. And just let the glue harden itself. Alright, now you come back here, position this. We are almost done. We're halfway through it. Come back here, reinstall that flex cable. Okay, press, press, press. Have the screen come in. Close up the screen. Put the bracket back in. Okay, now have the LCD screen goes back on top. Press it down a little bit. Okay, have the screw go back onto the LCD. By now, the super glue should be all dried up. The home button should be all good to go. It should be all sticky. Okay, at this point, I like to turn on my iPad. Before I close it down, I like to turn it on, make sure that, you know, it works, and before I put the screen back in. Now, some of you may stop at this process, and what I mean by stop, meaning that, you know, you would not tape here because you think that the new screen that comes with the pre-adhesive install is good to go. The answer is no. All right, just so you know, that is not true. I do not know the passcode. Let me try the home button. See, it works. Of it. Okay. All right, I can feel like everything is working. So what I'd like to explain to you now is the pre-install adhesive tape is not that great. Okay, the one that is here is not that great. So I like to buy this double-sided tape, and this tape here would stick a lot better and it's a lot stickier. So this is a 2mm, and 2mm goes on the side. Okay, because it's very tiny on the side, you only have a little bit of a gap to work with. So that would be the 2mm. Okay, and I used the 3mm for the top and the bottom. and a 2mm on the other side here. Okay, once I've done the process, what I like to do is remove this. We are ready to install the final screen, the new screen, and we'll be done. And again, if you find this video is helpful, please go ahead and smash the like button for me. Okay, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please feel free to subscribe. I do make a lot of computer repair stuff, tutorial, and iPhones, iPad, things like that. So I appreciate you for clicking the like button and subscribe to the channel. And let me know if this video is helpful for you and if you're able to change out the screen by yourself. I'd like to know what is the result. Here I like to make it a little fold here so that I can pick it up on the other side of the screen. So I just make it a little fold there. Okay, what I like to do, double check again, make sure the LCD is free of dust. Nothing stay on that side. I like to match the top left corner first. So I'm going to pick it up, match the top left corner, make sure it's all the way nice and in. The bottom left, make sure it's matched nice and in, holding it down. Okay, now I got to come back here, pick up that last piece that's supposed to be peeled off right there. Okay, now what I like to do, since you stay all the way at the end of the video, I like to show you a little secret that I do. I would like to tuck in that flex cable. You see the flex cable that we disconnected, we cut earlier, right? So I like to kind of tuck it in. Oops, I missed one part, is to remove this final tape. This red double-sided tape that I tape onto, I'm going to remove that. Okay, once I remove that, now we're going to talk about that final cable right there. I like to tug it in by pushing it down while closing the screen at the same time. Alright, I like to give it a little snuggle, push it in while having that screen down. So everything is good. Press the home button. Looks good. This is the front peel. Again, like I said, you got to peel from the front and hope you peel the one in the back. Press in the front, press again. Right, my touch ID is not going to work because you need to, yep, that's it. Everything works good. Oh, yep. So thanks for watching. I hope you learned something from this video. Bye now.